Oh yeah, please come in. Please have a seat. All right. Good morning, Stefan. It's great to meet you. To get things moving, could you please introduce yourself? I'm interested in hearing about your professional journey. What a typical day looks like for you as a developer, and perhaps a bit about your personal interests or hobbies outside of coding.
Good morning, Cikal. Thank you for having me. Well, I've been working as software engineer for about 3 years. I started my career focused on backend development, and over time, I'm moving into a full stack role where I really enjoy bridging the gap between database architecture and user interface. As for my daily routine, I'm big fan of studying early. I usually spend the first hour of my day reviewing pull requests and catching up on documentation before the team they stand up. After that, I've saved into deep work mode where I tackle the most complex coding tasks, usually with good podcasts in the background. When I when I'm away from the keyboard, I'm quite into home automation. I spend a lot of time tinkering with my smart home stuff. It's fun way to apply my programming skill to basic object. For a bit of minutes, I also love hiking on the weekend. It's my favorite way to disconnect and research.
Well, that sounds like a healthy balance for me. I love that you take your passion for tech into your own project as well. Since you mentioned being a full stack developer, could you tell me about a specific technical challenge you faced recently and how you navigated it?
Definitely, in my last project where we were facing a major performance bottleneck where our dashboard would lag whenever the user call exceeded certain threshold, investigate and found that the API was making redundant calls out to the database. Decided to implement caching layer using Redis and refactored the query logic. It ended up cutting our load time by about 30%, which was a great win for the team.
Well, that's a very practical solution. We value engineers who can spot those inefficiencies proactively regarding our team culture. We are very collaborative. So, what is your preference way of working with a team?
Also, I'm strong advocate for pair programming and regular honest code review. I believe the best software is built when developer feel comfortable challenging each other idea in constructive way. I'm looking for a team that value open communication and mentorship.
Well, we definitely pride ourselves on that environment here. On that note, seeing from your resume, you also have some experience with microservices architecture since our platform is currently transitioning in that direction. What would you say is the biggest challenge when managing communication between services?
Okay, that's a great question. In my experience, the biggest challenge with microservice is maintaining data consistency and handling network failure gracefully. In my previous role, we faced an issue with casting failure, where one downstream service went down and triggered several other services with it. To resolve this, implemented the circuit breaker pattern using envoy proxy and shifted from synchronous HTTP calls to an asynchronous event-driven architecture using Apache Kafka for non-time critical process. This made our entire ecosystem significantly more resilient.
Well, that's a very mature approach. Knowing when to use synchronous versus asynchronous communication is exactly what separates a standard developer from a strong system architect. Speaking of tech transition, how do you usually adapt it if you need to learn a completely new framework or language on short notice for a project?
For me, the core fundamental of software engineering, like data structure, design pattern, and system architecture, are universal. New language for or framework is just a different tool to implement those principles. If I need to pick up something new quickly, I usually build a small concept project right away, like a basic Two, application with authentication is I dive deep into the official documentation and really on community forums. I have always been learning by doing type of person as I absorb information based when I'm actively wording code.
Well, adaptability is crucial here, as our tech stack evolves rapidly. Now, let's pivot slightly to conflict resolution. Imagine a scenario where you and another senior developer have a strong disagreement about the architecture of a new feature, and the release deadline is tight. How would you handle that?
So I would suggest we take a step back and have a private on one-on-one discussion away from the rest of the team. My goal was to spare it our ego from the code. We would map out the pros and the cons of both a process on whiteboard, evaluating them against objective metrics, which is more scalable, safer to implement, and realistic within our deadline. If we still hit completed the rock, I suggest bringing in the text rate and objective third party to make the final call. Once the decision is made, even if my idea was to chosen, I'm 100% committed to executing it successfully for the sake of the team.
Wow, that's a highly professional mindset. The ability to disagree and commit is a core pillar of our engineering culture. Well, Sofian, do you have any question for us regarding the position or our current projects?
I do, given that you're moving towards a more modern tech stack. What does the team current CI/CD pipeline look like, and how do you handle technical debt while balancing new feature requests?
Those are excellent high-level questions. We currently use GitLab CL for our pipelines, and we dedicated roughly 20% of every sprint to refactoring and paying down technical debt to ensure long-term stability.
That's great to hear. It's rare to find a team that priorities technical health so clearly. If I might add one more question, what are the team expectations for this role during the first 3 to 6 months?
All right, other question from you. So, in the first 3 months, your focus will be on onboarding and understanding our code base. We expect you to start contributing to sprints by taking on small to medium features requests. By month 6, we love you to take a full ownership of one of our core service modules and start mentoring some of the junior developers on the team.
That sounds like a very structured and exciting challenge. I definitely look forward to making a meaningful impact.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Sofian, I'm very pleased with our conversation today. Your answer reflect the technical maturity and cultural alignment we are looking for. So our technical lead will be in touch within the next few days to schedule a coding assessment and a deeper technical chat. It was an absolutely pleasure meeting you, Sofian.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cikal. I really appreciate the time and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for coming to the Sofian.